Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Farhan Iskandar bin Muhammad Fauzi.
I'm Nur Azra Husna binti Syamsul Kamar.
My name is Muhammad Arif bin Nurin.
My name is Nur Wahida binti Hamzah.
I am Muhammad Nur Aiman bin Ramlan.
I am Adi Ardini binti Aman Akhtar.
We start from the first section, which is the summary of the article. So this article is about the government's drive towards saving public expenditure, either by cancelling or delaying all new government's projects. According to the author of this article, the government did this because the government wants to focus heavily on the well-being of the people. Other than that, the government also did this because the government wants to focus on effort to restore the national economy. In preserving the objective, the Prime Minister's Department in terms of economy had to take steps to postpone or not continue any project that will be carried out by the government that has not started yet. By doing so, all the funds for the project will be used to be channeled to the public welfare and also to the economic recovery as mentioned just now. The measures implemented by the Prime Minister's Department are on instruction from a circular issued by the Malaysian Treasury. The minister in the department, known as Datuk Sri Mustapa Mohamad, has held discussion with the Public Work Department and also Coordination Unit in preserving internal saving measures and also effort by optimizing spending of the government. So I think that's all from me for the summary section. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
The first factor is current economic situation. It means that the government can use their budget that is ready after postponing or stopping any large-scale project to restore the country's economy. This is because the project requires a very large amount of funds, where it's better to use it to implement programs that are able to contribute towards the economic growth in our country. For example, existing national expenditure fund can be used to increase economic growth, such as the government can carry out a strategic plan to develop every sector in our country, such as encouraging the opening of industrial areas. So, by doing that, it will contribute to increasing of employment opportunities, providing assistance to every group of society, reducing the price of goods and the others. Second factor that can be found is people's welfare. It means that the government had to stop or postpone any project for our country in order to take care of people's welfare. This can be proven by the increasing of poverty rate and inflation in our country. So, the main focus of government's expenditure will be Group B40 because they need more help in this current situation. In addition, through this delay, it may cause the government to carry out various aid programs, and it can be seen through the year 2023, where special allocation are more than RM107 billion has been approved to implement several aid programs.
As for the last factor is the increasing of federal government debt. Federal government debt relates to how much a country owes and is owed by the central government, which act as the liability of the nation. Change in the government debt over time reflect the outcome of the government deficits. For example, when government spending exceeds its tax collection. When its tax collection are exceeded, it has a budget deficit, which is then financed by borrowing from the private sector or from foreign governments. In other words, budget deficit occurs when government spending exceeds its revenue. Meanwhile, federal government debt is the accumulation of the deficits. Budget deficit and federal government debt are interrelated as they affect each other. For example, deficit affects the debt by selling bonds. When the bonds are sold, it increases the money. This transaction is defined as public debt because these bonds are sold to the public. Another example is the way that affects the deficit. In the long run, debt that is owed by the federal government reduce tax revenues and increase the deficit further.
The topic that is related to our question is the canon of expenditure. In this context, it's about the principle that must be followed by the government in the field of expenditure. There are many canons, but I will only mention two of them, which are related to the question given. The first canon is the canon of benefit. In this context, every expenditure made by the government must ensure that the benefits will go to the people. This is compulsory and important in order to avoid corruption and wasting government resources. The second canon is the canon of economy. In this context, every expenditure made by the government must be utilizing the resources accordingly. This is because the resources are limited, and if any waste of resources happens, it will affect a big number of people, so the resources must be utilized accordingly. Other than that, the expenditure made must generate revenue to make the money roll, so other budgets for other projects can be made.
Thank you to the previous presenter. Next, I will analyze the other topic in public finance costs that related to this issue. The topic chosen is topic 5, which is government budget. So what is budgeting? Budgeting is a process of creating a budget involves gathering the financial requirements of governmental organization to be satisfied from various financial sources. There are 3 points why topic 5, government budget, is related to this issue. Firstly, this issue related to chapter 5 because it involves outcome-based budgeting, or known as OBB. OBB is implemented due to several factors such as greater fiscal challenges that requires effective and efficient expenditure management. It also implemented due to the existing of overlapping programs and increasing redundancy. In this issue, the delay or cancellation of new projects that have been planned must be delayed or cancelled by the government in an effort to drive savings. Supported by Garis Panduan Penjimatan Awam Malaysia, updated on 4th July 2022, stated that government need to take steps to postpone or cancel new projects to enable money to be channeled for the well-being of the people. Not only that, it also to give effort towards the recovery of the country economy. Secondly, topic 5 is related to this issue because there is a subtopic titled politicization of budget. Politicization of budget is scenarios that focusing on the parties or elements engaged in the government's budget procedure. In this issue, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Economy held a meeting with the Implementation Coordination Unit or ICU and the Public Works Department or known as JKR to discuss the financial situations and discuss projects that are yet to start. Lastly, austerity drive occurs due to several factors. The economic situation is one of the factors that affect the government budget. As everyone already know, Malaysia and the world were facing the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019. The devaluation of the Malaysian ringgit and the decline in the gross domestic product or GDP are seen as widespread effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, economy will take a long time to recover. By postponing or cancelling new projects, money can be saved and channeled to the people and sector that really need it first. That's all from me. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
So, the first point is government need to find other sources of income in order to maintain their project for the people. It is because the project is for the importance of the citizen to live well in the country, as it will actually affecting their life and giving an impact to the country in terms of the productivity as well as the economy. In this point, our recommendation for government to take a look on real property gain exemption tax on the Malaysian citizen and permanent residents, which will no longer have to pay RGBT when selling their property on the 6th year onward, because this will actually reduce the tax intake. RGBT Malaysia is a significant source of revenue for the government, with the earnings used for national development. The second point is the government should implement cost-saving measures to help finance some of the additional expenses related to the subsidies for the welfare of the people. This is because in the Malaysian Treasury Circular Guidelines on Public Expenditure Savings, the Ministry of Finance revealed that the increase in existing subsidies, especially in petroleum products and cooking oils, as well as new subsidies such as electricity and poultry, had contributed to the increase in government spending. Therefore, ministries, departments or agencies should restructure the allocation and propose savings in the operating allocation.
As for the last recommendation is Malaysia can export more products to another country. Malaysia has established diplomatic relations with other countries, but not all countries in Malaysia export products. Trading has a lot of benefits. Countries trade to obtain goods and services they cannot produce themselves. For example, Malaysia imports machinery and electrical equipment from EU. In return, Malaysia exports rubber, plastics and types of oil such as crude oil and palm oil to them. These countries trade with each other to receive the goods they lack, and by doing so, they are able to maintain a healthy relationship with each other. In addition, countries that trade also earn some revenue. A trade goes both ways, with two countries gaining benefit from trade. If Malaysia trade with another country, the other country will also demand for Malaysia's product. For example, is palm oil. Palm oil is one of the world's most versatile raw materials. It can be used in food, cosmetic, and for producing energy. Palm oil is highly demanded for Malaysia, produced 34% of the world's production according to a survey in 2013.
In conclusion, we agree with the step taken by the government, which is to save the public expenditure is a good step, because if this step is not implemented, the government may face the budget overrun. This is because the project that may be implemented by the government are probably not a small project. In fact, it is likely to be a huge project and require a huge budget and expenditure in order to make a project successful. However, the project that will be delayed or cancelled must be taken into account first. This is because it is possible that the project that will be delayed or cancelled is indeed an important project. For example, like road repair project, infrastructure repair project, and other projects that involving public safety. So last but not least, there is no disease does not have the cure. In short, systematic and pragmatic measures must be carried out continuously so that all the problems that plague the country can be rooted out. So that's all from me and all my group members for the presentation of the newspaper article. So I will end this presentation with thank you and Assalamualaikum.